what the business is. Right now I can't explain what the feeling is.
Who gon' hold it down when this shit ends? My motherfucking idol was the dope man.
Niggas hating on the low, waiting on the low. I can never fall, stay true, stand tall.
Thanks, y'all. And in June of 2016, I represent Washington, D.C. at the Miss USA competition. And on June 5th, 2016, this happens.
Miss USA 2016 is...
And losing, and failing, and losing, and failing, and losing, and failing. Okay, the ladies in here know I had to get the bundles placed in. All right? You got to let the extensions flow. But every single year I got better at walking the stage. My dresses got better, my makeup got better, my communication got better, my interviews got better. And that's what failure does to you. Failure evolves you. Contrary to popular belief, you need failure to succeed. You can't have one without the other. Failure is a requirement. But for some reason, I think that we've been conditioned to believe that success comes overnight, when we can place our dreams in an air flyer, pull them out, and next thing you know, we've reached our accomplishments. That's not how this works. So I challenge you to be committed to perseverance. I challenge you to have tenacity and resilience when it comes to your dreams. And I definitely challenge you to let go of anything that's ever telling you that this is supposed to be easy. It's not, it never will. Whatever you are pursuing in your life, it is difficult. If dreams were easy, everyone would accomplish them. That's why they're hard. It takes away and breaks apart the winners from the individuals that will try once and throw in the towel. The reason why it's easy for me to climb my mountains of success is because I understand what type of terrain I'm about to experience. It's so much easier for me to climb this mountain because I know what I'm about to face. If you continue to look at your dreams as an easy experience, then you're going to be shocked when it's hard, and that's why you're going to give up. So I need you to throw away anything that's telling you that this is supposed to be a smooth process. I need you to let go of the fairy tales and look at your challenges for what they really are. A process. And the lessons that you're able to take away from this process is a necessity to be able to carry the weight and handle the pressure of the dream that you're asking for. We all know individuals that have achieved success and then they lost it overnight. It's because they had not learned the things that they needed to learn to maintain it. So I challenge you to embrace the hardship. I challenge you to embrace the difficulty. I challenge you to embrace the hardship. I challenge you to appreciate failure for what it really is. To people, places, things, and new opportunities. Because you never know when you're running into your limits. And that person is able to put you on a trajectory that's completely opposing of what you planned on. But it changes your life for the better. Having an open mind and being curious has been one of the reasons I've been able to get to a stage like this. I've always been open to new things and to new people. You are in a room full of gifted, talented, and ambitious people. That's where you are right now. If you leave here without business cards, without LinkedIn connections, without coffee dates, then you have done Inspire wrong. The point of being in this room is to be connected to individuals that are ready for something bigger and better, just like you are. This is your moment to connect with one another. So I challenge you not to be guarded. I challenge you to shake hands and rub shoulders. And I challenge you to look to your left and to your right and wonder if there's a Leslie sitting next to you. Round of applause for the heart.
You might know him as a guy who often sits in one of the middle chairs, Mr. Wonderful himself. Yeah, so if you don't know Kevin O'Leary, you're about to. We're going to play a short intro video, and then on the other side, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank is going to be right here on this stage, dropping knowledge bombs. Let's watch.
You can't come in here not knowing your numbers. This is the Shark Tank. We're going to kill you. People ask me all the time, why are you so mean on Shark Tank? I'm not mean. I'm just telling you the truth through the experiences I've lived. I was born into a working class family. I struggled like everyone. everybody else did. My mother was of Lebanese descent, my father was Irish. He was a salesman who sold winter clothing for children. I was about 7 years old when my father died. Those were very tough years for me. My dad died when he was 37 years old, leaving my mother alone with 2 children and a very uncertain future ahead. Life being what it is, changes all the time. My mother met a fellow named George. 2 of them married, and life changed dramatically. My stepdad joined the ILO, a division of the United Nations. We lived everywhere. We moved to Cambodia, Cyprus, Tunisia, Japan, France, Switzerland. Every 2 years, a different country. Looking back at all the elite cultures I've been steeped in, you understand everybody's challenges in the world, not just your own. My stepdad's a very pragmatic individual. He tells it like it is. I think I learned that trait from him. When I got out of college, I wanted to be a photographer and a rock star. And I tried being a hippie for a few years. My stepfather said to me, "You're going to starve to death. You should go back to school right now." When I graduated, I started my first company, Special Night Television. It made sports programming for the networks. Then Sofkey started my basement, which eventually became the Learning Company. And a few years later, I sold it for $4.2 billion. A lot of people see me as the harsh guy in Shark Tank. It's so not true. Would you rather have me lie to you because I'm worried about your feelings? I care about your feelings. I care about your money. A shark that is disingenuous, that tries to keep you feeling good when they know your idea has no merit, is doing you a huge disservice. Today, I'm really proud to be an entrepreneur and to help entrepreneurs so they can create jobs. You don't start a business out of greed or the pursuit of money. You do it for the pursuit of freedom. But I realized in the early years I didn't have a lot of time for my young kids. I was so busy with my business. So now I try and spend as much time as I can with them. Everything you see around you here, I made myself. I worked like hell for it, and I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm proud to be a capitalist. In my spare time, I love to cook, and I'm crazy about O'Leary fine wines. I'm still taking photographs, and I love to collect guitars. And oh yeah, I love to play them too. Like everybody else, I want to be a rock star when I grow up. Today I spend a lot of time teaching. I tell students you don't start a business out of greed. It's not about money. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? To set yourself free. The pursuit of entrepreneurship is about freedom and helping others achieve their goals at the same time. People always ask me, why do you keep going? And here's my answer. If you want to help someone, anyone, anywhere in the world, the best thing you can do is to create a job for them. Who does that? Entrepreneurs. I'll spend the rest of my days encouraging people to do exactly what I have done. Become an entrepreneur, start a business, and create jobs, and above all, support others who want to do the same. For me, entrepreneurship and the freedom it gives is the essence of life.
DC, get up out of your seats. Tell me welcome to the stage, Mr. Canada.
So my job today is to take you through a little journey as to what's occurred to our economy over the last 36 months, because most of us in here are entrepreneurs. And these are fundamental changes you need to understand in either maintaining a business you have, or more importantly, starting one, which today is much different than it was 3 years ago in terms of customer acquisition, retention, and growth. I want to talk about that quite a bit. Let's go back to the beginning of the pandemic. If you recall, in 2020, it was chaos. People didn't know what was going on, and the lockdown actually started to happen. And so what occurred there was an acceleration of some way to figure out, after having sent everybody back to headquarters home. No country, no business had ever done that before, but we did. But back then there was a emerging technology called Zoom, which now is like Kleenex. No one ever heard of Zoom back then. And everybody started trying this technology to see if they could communicate with employees to keep a business alive even remotely. Now, that changed the work methodology, because if you're waking and sleeping at different times, because during lockdown, people went nuts. They were staying awake for 20 hours, watching Netflix, or doing whatever. So in maintaining businesses, it went to project-based management. You say, okay, I gotta get something done by Thursday at 2. The manager doesn't care when you get it done, as long as it's done at Thursday at 2, because they know you're in a different cycle. Coming. Now think about this. You're in the third month of lockdown. You're in a condo somewhere, maybe where I live, Miami Beach. There's a lot of retirees in my building. They all have cell phones. Everybody. 150 million Americans over the age of 50 had cell phones they weren't really using other than to make some calls and the occasional text. But if they didn't figure out how to order stuff, they starved to death. So all of a sudden, they figured out Instacart. They figured out buy direct from businesses. They were on their phones all day long, becoming digitally hip for the first time. And that happened in a 9-month period. 150 million new customers came online in a sophisticated way. Now, that is a very big deal because what it did is significantly change customer strategies. Because think about this. Nike, sneakers, pre-pandemic, 27% direct to consumer. Post-pandemic, 57% direct to consumer. But it gets better. Not just only the margins going up, because when you sell something direct to somebody, the only cost you have is the manufacturing cost and logistics of shipping it to them. So instead of making 50 cents on the dollar, you can make as much as 82 cents. But that's not the secret sauce. The secret sauce is you get data. Where is your customer? Their address, their cell phone number, their size, their preference, their color. For other products, the flavors, all of that information coming in by the billions of transactions every week to all the companies selling direct to consumers during the height of the pandemic. It was a game changer. No one had ever had that data before. And just at a time when AI was poking its head up to be able to manage that data. So let me give you an example. One of my businesses is the wine business. Pre-pandemic, we had to ship through 2 tiers of distribution east of the Mississippi and 3 tiers west of the Mississippi. We had no idea who bought the wine. Today, during the pandemic, because the laws changed, you're allowed to ship direct to consumers a 39-pound case of wine because there was no distribution. So the states changed the laws and you can ship directly from the vineyards in California to the customers. Then we start getting the data. So right now, I can tell you today, in the middle of October, what's the #1 varietal of white wine in southern Florida? Big market? Moscato. I think it tastes like shit. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters who buys it, and I know who they are, and I know when they buy it, and what they pay for it, and when they want it. So my use of capital in that business now is to grow Moscato grapes just in time to ship in Q4. So that my costs are down. And you ask me, why is the stock market performing so well right now? Because every company's doing this. They got the data during the pandemic. Every single one of them is mining data to sell it direct. And earnings have gone up in some cases 17%. We're in the best version of American business we've ever been in because of digitization that occurred during the pandemic. It's a silver lining of a horrific outcome, but it's a huge opportunity for you because it lets you start businesses that are based on community. Now let me explain what this means. When you sell something direct to somebody, that's like the first time you do it, it's like dating. You've met them, you've sold them something, you've never met them before, but now they bought a product from you, that's the first date. By the 3rd time they bought it from you, you're married. With all the good, the bad, and the ugly of marriage, but it's a wonderful thing because they bought it a second and third time because the expectation of your product was that it would be consistent. And the experience they had the first time would be the same as the second time as long as the 3rd time. It just kept the same. And they liked it and they kept buying it. And when that's occurring, you are building a brand. They don't care about you anymore. They care about the product and the brand. And that becomes incredibly valuable. But it gets better because when the first person does it, that's a community of 1. Then the second person does it, a community of 2. And then as they start talking to their friends and family about the 3rd time they bought the product, they're saying, I like this product. They become your advocate. They're selling your product for you. Quietly, 24 hours a day. That's your community. They trust you, you're transparent, they love the product, and boom, you're in business in a big way. Let me give you an example of the first time we ever saw this on Shark Tank years ago. I'm using Shark Tank as an example. That is Tracy and Danny. Tracy is the mother in white, Danny's the daughter in red. Name of the product? Wicked Good Cupcakes. One of the stupidest ideas I've ever seen. They took mason jars that weigh a ton, glass mason jars, and they stuck a cupcake in it with no preservatives, sealed it, and shipped 6 at a time, which weighed a ton. Cupcakes are a commodity. Everybody can get a cupcake. There's probably 5 commercial kitchens within 2 miles of here right now. And so I said to them, who's going to buy this? Why don't they just go buy a cupcake at the corner store? They don't need this. But they wouldn't stop. They were so aggressive. And Danny and Tracy kept saying, look, this is the best cupcake you've ever tried. Take a spoon of it. By this time, Cuban had eaten 2 of them. Open the second one, ate the whole thing. That's 1,200 calories. There's 600 calories each. So I knew the stuff was good as he was chowing it down. But I didn't get the business model. I had to ship it. So finally, this is the crazy part about it. I said, please, nobody wants to die. They wanted $250,000 to build a commercial kitchen, to expand production. And they said, look, I love you too, but everybody's out. And finally I said, look, I have an idea. Because I can't lose all my money. I'll give you $250,000, but I want $1 a jar until I get my $250 back, and then 50 cents in perpetuity. Shark Tank's first royalty deal, right there. And Danny, the daughter, said, don't do it, Mommy, he's evil. And the mother said, it's the only offer we have. We gotta take it. And they did. Now here's where it gets crazy. Here's the lesson for all this. Shark Tank night comes. Remember, that hour-long pitch gets converted down to 8 minutes. It airs. It's called Shark Tank night. I thought, you know, these guys would sell 60 of these a day if they were lucky. We knew no idea. We had no idea what was going to happen there. The night it aired, they sold 92,000 sets. 92,000 sets of 6 in 1 set. So that's 92,000 times 6. There weren't that many mason jars in America. So how are we going to ship all this stuff to all these people? It was incredible outcome. And why was that happening? Why did it happen? Because we think, and now I know it's true, that Danny and Tracy were the essential mother-daughter relationship. They were honest, they were transparent, they were fun to listen to, and every mother in America wanted to support them. But it gets crazy. Obviously, working that hard to try and fill the 92,000 orders, emotions and tempers got strained between these two. They were working 20 hours a day, other family members trying to fulfill these orders. And then one day, Danny, the daughter, snapped. Back then, the only social media platform that had video on it was Twitter. That's what it was called back then. 30-second vertical tweets. Huge fight happening in the commercial kitchen area, and Danny videoed the fight with her mother. It was nasty. It was obvious that these two had a very difficult morning. And things said on that should not have gone online. It wasn't family values, to say the least. She posted. 7 minutes later, it starts to go viral. I get a phone call from the producer of Shark Tank saying, take that down now. This is not what we're about at Shark Tank. It was really bad stuff. I didn't get a hold of Tracy for another 40 minutes, and it was going friggin' berserk all over the place. Finally got a hold of her. I said, look, you know I know. She said, yeah, I know. Danny posted that thing and put his calling around the family. We're selling 9,000 kits. I call back, I say, Clay, you're selling 9,000 a minute. I call back Tracy.
Keep fighting! The Kardashians of cupcakes. Basically, every day would send out the trials and tribulations of a family business trying to grow and trying to succeed. They were totally authentic. Every time they experimented with a flavor, they would tell everybody about it. The mothers around would start buying them as gifts and everything else, and the business went like this. And their customer acquisition cost? Zero. Nothing. Nothing. The more they posted, the more orders they got. Hickory Farms bought them out. It was a huge business by then. Tracy, the mother of two very wealthy women. She's now a screenwriter in Los Angeles. Danny married a drummer. I did a prenup, he'll get nothing. But the point is, we all learned a lesson about social media. This is 15 years ago. Now today it's far more sophisticated. Everybody wants to do this. Everybody wants to pull it off. And everybody tries very hard to catch what they did. That's authentic. That's what matters. Because on social media, you can smell bullshit a mile away. And you have to be authentic. But it does give you a hint of what it takes to start a business, grow a community, and connect with your customer through storytelling, which turns out to be the most important part of any business, including big ones. Communicating with your customers, explaining who you are, what your mission is, what your product does, and why you care about that customer. Every single day. Now, I want to talk a little bit about content creation, because the number one cost of doing that is creating content, which used to be very inexpensive, but now with TikTok and Instagram and all the other platforms, it's not inexpensive. It's very expensive. You have to figure out, how do I tell a viral story? How do I communicate? How do I post every day? How do I keep it interesting? How do I keep it authentic? How do I connect with my community? How do I make sure I'm telling them the truth every day and they're growing and becoming my advocates for my product? That is your mission, every one of you in this room. So let's talk about content creation, a big game changer right now. It's called AI. Now AI, 24 months ago, was too expensive. Not the case today. I'm going to show you AI Kevin here was created with $129 a month subscription. You're going to tell me which one is the real Kevin and which one's the... It's really about thinking that you are the number one tool in your war chest of entrepreneurship. You, your head, your body, your health, and everything else. Now, I don't want to go down some crazy rabbit hole on longevity. I'm going to give you the basic things that I do. They're very, very simple. Number one is diet. Number two is exercise. Number three is sleep. And let me explain those. Diet, I had no idea because I never cared about this. But somebody got me onto two simple apps. I don't endorse them. I don't own them. I'm not a paid spokesperson for them. But basically, Yuka, Y-U-K-A, download it, it's free, and Lose It are the two that I use. Yuka is really interesting. You just scan the food with your camera or the barcode, and it rates it between 0 and 100. Anything lower than 60, don't put it in your mouth. It's that simple. You're keeping shit out of your body. All the garbage food, don't eat it. You need about 120 milligrams of protein every day to stay sharp as an entrepreneur. Use Lose It, photograph the food. You're going to move your diet a little bit more away from carbs to more protein stuff. I eat a lot of chicken, a lot of turkey. It sounds so basic. In about 10 weeks, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to feel absolutely terrific. And you will lose weight. That's good anyways. But your mind is going to be sharp. That's his number one. Number two, exercise. Get 10,000 steps. You don't have to go crazy. But I ride a bike for an hour and 20 minutes in Miami on the boardwalk, and I'm listening to news feeds, dog walkers, and me at 5:45 in the morning every single day at home. That's my exercise. And I work out in the gym with some weights for like 20 minutes after that. Every single day. I know people say, oh, I don't have time. You have to find time. All right, sleep. Get an Aura ring. I don't own Aura as a company. I use it every day. What you're going to learn about Aura, very important. The food you eat, the killer, the bummer about Aura is booze. If you drink 3 hours before you go to sleep, you don't get it. You get no REM sleep. That sucks for your productivity. And I love wine. It breaks my friggin' heart when this drink tells me, because when I don't drink, my heart rate drops to 48 resting, which is really good. If I do drink 3 hours before I go to sleep, it's 70. Think about what you're giving away. I'm not a health nut, I'm just telling you, booze sucks. So if you're gonna drink, drink at breakfast. Lastly, and this is the most important, I want you to think about this a lot. I learned this in part, but you must do this. As you become more successful, as you're building your business, you get into a routine. You do the things that are comfortable, that you're very easy doing, because it's the path of least resistance. You don't want to try anything new. You don't want to do the work to do it. You don't want to be in your groove, you're doing your thing over and over again, but you're not exercising the most important muscle in your body, your mind. Your mind was designed to solve problems for you every day. But if you're doing the routine right, and you're not experimenting with something else and forcing yourself to do it, that is not what it means. This is actually research being looked at for dementia. People that keep very active mentally, now what does it mean? Learn how to play mahjong, or maybe right now I'm trying to learn the cello. I can play guitar, but I can't play the cello. I'm challenging myself to learn it. So you need to get out of your comfort zone for 20 to 30% of every day. Something that you're worried about. Maybe I'm going to be embarrassing myself. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe
That you're good at and running a business around that. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm good at hair or I'm good at fixing cars, then I'm great at hair or fixing cars. But because I'm great at hair or fixing cars, that is different from the business of owning a salon or the business of owning a mechanic shop. Am I making sense? Yes? Those two things are different, am I right? What keeps entrepreneurs up at night isn't the thing that you're amazing at. You got that on lock, you got that in spades. The thing that keeps entrepreneurs up at night is the other stuff, the business stuff, right? And so the question is, how can we make it so that you stay focused on your core competency, your zone of genius, the thing that when people watch you do it, they're like, how do you do that? You're like, that's easy, what, right? How do we keep you focused on that and outsource all of the business stuff? Is that a fair question to answer? Yes or yes? I think so as well. And that is what our next speaker is going to be talking to you about today. Over the past 15 years, the gentleman I'm about to...
Where you were, how it felt. I was so excited. I was inspired. I had this idea of like fulfillment, contentment. What was your big idea? What was the big idea you had? What was that going to give you? What was that business going to provide for you? What were you going to get from jumping in? You're all excited, you're going to solve these problems, you've got this big idea. You jumped in, you're going to create a business, you wrote down all the math on a napkin, you're going to be rich. Then what? What was that going to provide you? What was that going to give you?
Freedom.
For me, I was thinking about like freedom, impact. I mean, this morning, listening to Andrew's presentation, I don't have kids, but if I ever do, like, I've added vacations to the list. No more, no staycations. My kids will not experience that same trauma Andrew had and the PTSD that comes with it. So you can add vacations to the list. Where are you going forward? What about for you? What was the business going to provide for you? Money, love it. So the question is, like, if you look at it today, you look at the business today, whether you're 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in, is it going the way you thought it would? Kinda? Somewhat? Yeah, so for most people, the answer is kind of like, meh, maybe. So what's the problem? Why isn't it exactly the way you thought it was going to be? It's hard. Why is it hard?
information.
Yeah, I hear lots of answers, and not one of them's because of the thing that I do super well. Like, software engineers know how to develop software, painters know how to paint. I have a friend, Sally Hirschberger, she's a master stylist. She celebrities and Kardashians and Jill Biden and Lisa Rinna and everybody in between. Does she have any problems cutting hair? No, master with the scissors. She has an office in California, an office in New York, LA, and the city. Master with scissors. Not what keeps her up at night. Not the stress. So, what's the problem? If you got more clients, I'm a genie, rub the lamp. More clients, does that solve all your problems? Is that the answer? Maybe. Okay, well, what about information? Like, if you had just access to all the information, maybe that's why you're here, you're listening to my presentation. I'm gonna give you the one thing that turns the corner and solves all your problems, yeah? Okay, what about connections? We've heard a lot about connections today. You're one person away, one seat away from all the answers, is that right? Like the connections? What about capital? That's the one I hear the most. Like if I just had, raise your hand if you just had blank check, a line of credit issued to you right now, here you go, boom, all your problems gone? Everything good? No, so what's the problem? I thought it was gonna be all of those things. I went to conference to conference, I went to event to event, networked my ass off, hustle and grind, sleepless nights, missed birthdays, missed family events, dinners. We really celebrate this hustle and grind. And it's in a lot of ways what I was taught. That's what I learned. The path to success would be just hustle, network, information, clients, and it would all be good. But that's not really what I found. And like Gary Vee this morning said, love Gary Vee, incredible entrepreneur, just exceptional, very nice guy. And he said, if you work a certain number of hours a day for a year, you'll make $1 million. And I agree with that. Work 20 hours a day, 52 weeks a year, you'll make $1 million. I totally agree with that. My question is, what about the second million? Is it another 20 hours a week for 52 weeks a year? Okay, maybe do that too. What about the third million? Is it another 20 hours a week, 52 weeks a year to get that third million? And what about the fourth million? To me, that doesn't sound very sustainable. Like when I was 25, sure. But today, this idea of just endless loop, this trap, it's like the more I improve the business, kind of the worse my life gets. And that's best case scenario, you improve the business, because networking is important. Like, information is super important. Access to capital can make or break some businesses. But the problem we all face, the thing that we all have in common, is like you said, this idea of business is hard, having nothing to do with what you do best. And so if I were to double your clients, what would happen? Some really great things. The same way, networking and capital and all these things are gonna add to your business. It's gonna be super valuable to have those things. So if you doubled your clients overnight, a lot of good things come from that. Revenue. One of my mentors says revenue cures cancer in a business. You got enough revenue and you're good, right? And so if we double your clients, it's like, okay, great. Triple, quadruple, 10x your clients, right? So revenue's coming in, that's good. But what about everything else? So can your customer service handle it? What about fulfillment? What about client retention? What about back office? What about your teams, your managers? Are they gonna be good, stressed, frustrated? Like what happened? Most people, if they doubled their clients overnight, the business would fall apart in a lot of ways. You may survive for a little bit, but it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. And so, what is so crazy to me, we've worked with thousands of companies. I started companies myself. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't matter who I talk to that started a business. A husband and wife team in California running a shipping and logistics company. Do a great job. They started when they were 20 years old, one kid. They're 8 years in, 5 kids later. And I'm talking to them, they're like, the business is great, we're crushing it. Yeah, so what's the problem? Our life sucks. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. And they tell me the same story here over and over again. We started the company because we loved what we do. And we're really good at it. We can move shit around for people. Like shipping and logistics, we got it. And we did this so that we could have something for ourselves, so that we could create a business for our kids, for our family. I wanted to be the PTA mom. And she said, our kids are getting less of us today, 8 years in, not more. But the business, making more money, going crazy, but it's super stressful. I'm doing back office, he's in the field, it's a mess. So, oh, well, that's just the husband and wife team. Well, what about the real estate, the insurance company I'm working with? They're doing $100 million top line revenue. The goal is to get to 300 in the next 3 years on a path to $1 billion. I say, Justin, looks to me, everything's great. He's like, yeah, we're doing okay. Okay, what's the problem? Life is tough, man. My wife is done with me. Okay, because I keep telling her, this is the year. This is it. This is the year. It's all going to be worked out. It reminds me of Andrew's story he was telling this morning about finances. It's like, we work really hard, we have a really good year, we end up at zero. And then, okay, we'll just make more money. So we make more money the next year, bigger, 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 and we still end up at zero. Okay, the next year it gets bigger, we make more and more and more and more money, we end up, it's the same in operations. It's like, okay, we're gonna grow the company, get bigger, 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 okay, great. And then, my life's gonna get better. Then I'm gonna take that vacation, right? Then I'm gonna go do this thing. And then like, oh, well, the next year we work on it, it gets bigger, 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 bigger. And really just the trap is bigger. It's more intense. The stress is more because it's more meaningful, it's more real. You've got a whole lot more going. As the business gets bigger, our problems aren't solved, they're amplified. And the stress is amplified. And I hear it every single day. I went through it myself. So, what's the answer? There's got to be an answer. And for me, if I'm going to seek for an answer, I go to the greats. I want somebody who's built something exceptional, both for their lives and for their business. Because to me, that would be somebody that's exceptional, both sides. You create an exceptional business, you hate your life. I'm not so sure I'm interested in that. Unless you just want that. I mean, that's fine. I don't care. America is wonderful. Do whatever you want. But for me, I want both sides of it. I want both sides. That's why I started my own business. To create that. And so, there's this great story. Who knows if it's even true? I tried to verify it. Okay, independently. I've heard it so many times and I tried to verify it. Couldn't independently actually verify it happening, other than it's told over and over and over again in a lot of real publications and things. And the story goes that Gates' father hosted a dinner for Buffett and a bunch of their genius boyfriends one evening. And he asked them to write down, gave them all a piece of paper, handed out pens, and said, hey, what's the one factor for your success? What's the one thing that's gonna make you great? And everybody wrote down their answers. Some people wrote paragraphs, and everybody's right. And they flip them all over. And Gates and Buffett had the same one-word answer. Okay, somebody knows it. See, you heard the story too. So it must be real. So you can't hold that against me, right? We're in now. Okay? So focus. So even if you're working out, did the greats say, hey, just go hustle till the end of time? Did they say, hey, work on everything except what makes you really good. Go spend 20 hours a day. Like, reading Elon Musk's biographies, or whatever it is, not authorized by him, but super detailed, super amazing. The guy did work 20 hours a week. Forever, 22 hours a week. But only on his core genius. Only on what his absolute, narrow, laser-focused alignment with what his core genius was and where he's gonna have the biggest impact, and nothing else. There's literally nothing. He was okay, he chose to work 20 hours a day. But he wasn't spread out in fulfillment, customer service, and working with the finance team and doing it. Are you kidding? No way. You think Starlink, Tesla, all these things could become what they become without him just laser focused on his thing?
Right here. This side over here, say to you and your partner. On this side over here. You're gonna have this little thing up here that's referred to as feeders. I talked a little bit about this in the dining and lunch. There's this thing called feeders. There's probably about 8 or 9 different types of feeders. Feeders are going to be used to be able to tax advantage, put millions and millions of dollars in a different account, inside of a different trust or structure. And there's going to pour over, so right here would be called pour over. So upon death, it's structured as a pour over feeder. Okay? So there's probably 8 or 9 different pour over feeders. I'll give you an example. Right here in the foundation, the feeders for foundation wealth you use is called a CRT. So we'll use a CRT, which means we'll put a business or something inside of it, and it'll get outside of all capital gains tax that exists inside of it. That CRT will still pay us interest every single year of our life, and it pays interest on all of our money that we've made. Upon death, we won't pay any tax on it because we put it inside this charitable remainder trust, but yet it pays us out interest every single year. Upon death, it's poured over into our family foundation, which will never pay tax on it forever, to never pay tax on it. Inside that private family foundation, understand, there's a lot of shit you can do for your family. It's called setting up grants for your family, and education, leadership training, international travel, that the family foundations are doing inside of that foundation, paid for by a donation to you with no capital gains, and then passed down for generations. Super freaking badass. That's a type of a feeder, okay? The main feeder I'm gonna show you right now, that I want you to really, really understand. This is the first feeder you would ever set up. It's called an island, okay? So out of these 3 pieces up here at the top, or on the side, to create it, this right here would be the first one that you would set up, in my opinion. This would be the second one you set up. This would be the third one that you would set up. So as you build this out, engineer it would be structured out as 1, 2, and 3. If you set these up in a progressive time period, it would go in that order. The feeder we're going to use is called an island for the family bank forever, and freeing up all your money and taking the pressure off of you to create forever tax-free generational wealth, okay? You better see some Illuminati shit here, okay? What we're gonna do is, when you open up your island, you're gonna have a bunch of beneficiaries on here. The secret to this that they're gonna do is they're gonna put a lot, depending on how much money you have, okay? You're gonna put a lot of beneficiaries on this right here, okay? And they're gonna be unique beneficiaries. These may not even ever use this money. Matter of fact, they're not going to. So you may pick your mom, dad, brother, sister, and anybody you can trust, basically, they're gonna put on here as a beneficiary of that island, okay? You have this thing called a yearly gift exemption that you can do. Right now it's $18,000 per person, $36,000 if you're married. What you're gonna do is you're gonna gift $36,000 per year per beneficiary. The more money you have, the more beneficiaries they'll throw on that thing over there. They're not gonna get access to it unless you trust them. And then you'll gift $36,000 a year. We're going to create something very, very unique here, okay? We're going to see what the Rockefellers truly did. So they would gift this money over to this island. Once it's inside the island, you're going to have to do this thing with your attorneys right here called, it's called Crummy, C-U-R-M-M-E-Y letters. There's a process inside of this called Crummy letters. That's the wealth you're going to do. This means your trustees and it's a letter out to your beneficiaries that said, hey, you've been given this, $36,000. You want to use it right now, we're doing a withdrawal right now. What happened is all of these beneficiaries will ignore it, okay? So they're going to decline it basically. After 30 days, number's 30 you're looking for. After 30 days, now all that money stays inside of the eyelet right here.
You might not know that by watching my stuff, but that's actually who I really am. It's different, yes or no? Okay. And I would like that for me. So let's have an experience together that transforms our lives. That's my outcome. My outcome is that when we're done, you're different and I'm different. That's a big thing to say in the beginning, but let's see if we can do it. You're in? Yes? Okay. Number one thing I want to remind you of, I want to say something to you, because maybe no one said this to you in a long time. You were born to do something great with your life. Let me say that to you again so you hear me. I'm not talking about the lady next to you. You were born to do something great with your life. From the moment you were born, when God made you in his image and likeness, held you in the palm of his hand, you were supposed to do something great with your life. And you've known that when you were a little girl or a little boy. But as you've gotten older, it's kind of become this faint whisper that you don't hear anymore and you've forgotten. And maybe you don't believe in yourself like you used to anymore. Or maybe you've achieved a little bit and you give yourself a whole lot of credit for what you've already done. And you're not as driven, as hungry as you used to be. But you know deep in your heart you're supposed to do something great with your freaking life. Yes or no? Yes. So, how do we do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. Like specifically, how do you do that? And I have a theory that I know is true. And that is this. You are one decision away from doing that. You're one decision, one new thought, one new strategy, one new relationship, one new connection, one new emotion, one speaker away from changing your life. And the reason that I still do this, I don't need the money to do this anymore. All the money I make speaking goes to my foundation. I do it because I have this feeling that when I talk to a room full of 1,000 people, there might be 20 or 30 of you who will actually leave here and change your life. I really believe that. I know you can, I just don't know that you will. I know there's a decision you need to make. I have no idea what it is for you, but I know there is one that you need to make. Are y'all with me on that? Say yes. I want to give you hope that you can do it. I'm going to talk quick, because I usually talk for an hour and I've got 40. I want to give you hope. Number one, how do these things happen for me? One, we got a great God and a dork like me made all this stuff happen. That's number one. But it certainly didn't happen with IQ. So, a lot of you don't know this, but I met my wife in kindergarten. And so, she's known me 50 years, which means I've known her 50 years. And so she knows all my stuff, meaning she's not impressed with anything that we do. And there's a running joke in my family that I don't have a high IQ. It's just a joke. I can tell you all these stories about how I have 2 kids and a wife and I'm 4th out of all 4 of us in IQ. I can tell you my SATs were 760. Princeton wanted me to play center field for them, so I took a cram course for 6 weeks to take the SAT again. I got 670 the second time. But I always tell one story. I mix them in to indicate to you my IQ level, so I'm going to give you one to start. Because I want you to go, if he could do it, I can do it. Okay? Whatever that it is for you. And I don't know what the it is. But let me give you this one story. And I've been telling this lately, and I just think it's hilarious because it's completely 100% true. The way I fell in love with my wife was this. She let me copy off her page all the way through high school. I swear to you. She would literally turn the paper towards me so that I could see it in class. Remember that kid who covered up? You remember that kid who would cover up? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. That dude does not have a video like that. That dude's living in an apartment somewhere, screaming about politics or something, right? So we're in 3rd grade, it's Mrs. Hanson's class. And the day before, I know I cheated on the spelling test, copied off my future wife's paper. 100% sure. And we go in the next day, and Mrs. Hanson was like the sweetest teacher I ever had, seriously. But she had this look on her face like she was pissed, man. And my little heart's racing. Because if I get in trouble, I'm going home to my drunk dad, who was a physical dude, let's just put it that way. So my little heart's racing. And she says, everybody needs to sit down, we got a problem. Now, she says, no. And she says, I think somebody cheated on the spelling test yesterday. Actually, as I'm telling you this right now, I swear to God, my heart is like literally racing right now. It just kicked in. Did you notice my body change right there? It's immediately, I'm like, holy shit. So she goes, I think somebody cheated on the spelling test yesterday. She goes, in fact, I'm pretty sure somebody did because I have 2 identical tests here with the same 3 words misspelled. Misspelled exactly the same way. And then she says, she goes, and I'm pretty sure I know who cheated. Let me tell you why. Because I got 2 tests here from Christiana. Some of you are as stupid as I am. And none from Eddie.
Copy the name.
I am so stupid. I copied her name. If it was one of the spelling questions on the test. You gotta be pretty damn stupid to do that. And now I got $200 million in personal real estate. Right? The number one book speaker in the world. Number one book speaker in the world. Now, how does all that happen? Let's take a look. Here's the thing. Number one, I was going to quit many times. She would hit her gun on her phone unless she's taking notes. There you go. Something important's happening up here. Okay. You got a guy worth $800 million, you might want to listen. Right? Let's listen. Especially here in the front row. So, here we go. Here's how it happened. I was going to quit many times. Many times. I had a conversation with my dad once. My dad got sober, by the way. He was an alcoholic. My dad eventually got sober. And it had a big deal in my family. So I don't think you can change your life. I know you can. But my dad had this thing. I'd say, Daddy, are you never going to drink again? My dad would say, Eddie, I can't promise you I'm never going to drink again. I can promise you I'm not going to drink for one more day at a time. One day at a time. My dad, the rest of his life, never had another drink. But he fought that battle one day at a time. I was going to quit in business. And by the way, I probably should have. I was going broke. Things weren't going well. Haters, up and down financially. And I went to my dad and I said, hey, I think I'm going to go get back in my job. My dad goes, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Why? I said, well, this. He goes, guys, it would be reasonable. As long as when you're an old man laying in your bed someday, you can deal with the fact that you were average and ordinary. You never do anything great with your life. As long as you can deal with that fact, because you're making that decision right now. You're deciding to quit on your dreams. And once you start quitting on things, Eddie, it becomes a habit. You just quit. And he goes, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just don't quit for one more day? Just for one more day, don't quit. Just decide today you're not going to quit for today. And then tomorrow, wake up and see how you feel. You know what, the next day when I woke up, I still wanted to quit. But maybe not quite as much. And I started stacking up those one more days. And all of a sudden, my life changed. Let me tell you what the decision was that I made in that time. I started to decide that the me that existed at that time was not going to make those dreams come true. So here's what I started to do. I started to picture in my mind, this may seem simple, but I want you to hear me on this. At any level you can do this, and I still do it to this day. I wanted to picture in my mind the person I wanted to be. How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they think? How do they dress? How do they express themselves? I held a picture of that person in my mind, and over time I started to act in congruence with that person. And imperceptibly, over weeks and months and years, I transformed into becoming that person. That's how it works. Now, you can picture in your mind a model of somebody. Maybe you want to be like Gary Vee. Maybe you want to be like me. Maybe you want to be like Andrew or Eddie. I don't know. Maybe it's not even a person. But I do that to this day. At 55 years old, I'm not the same guy I was when I was 45. If I'm that guy, I'm of no value to you. So I start thinking, what would this guy want to be? How much more patient would he be? How much more kind? How much more giving? How much more tolerant? These are things I wasn't good at when I was 45. And I hold a picture of that man in my mind, and I begin to act like him. And over time, I transform myself imperceptibly. It doesn't happen in one day, but slowly but surely, one decision at a time, one day at a time, you become that person. The people that have those videos that make their dreams come true, stack up one day at a time. That's what they do. I'll prove it to you. I'll show you a video. This lady is a Holocaust survivor. She was in a concentration camp. Beautiful woman. I want you to listen to the words she says about how she got through it. Because let me tell you how you got out of this concentration camp. Through the chimney. Your ashes. When they would burn you. That was the life this woman lived. So whatever you're going through right now, and I have appreciation for that, it wasn't this. And I want you to hear how she got through it, this beautiful soul. I think you'll love this.
My name is Ella Blumenthal, and I'm an Auschwitz survivor. The one thing I want people to remember is that throughout my suffering and fight for survival, I never lost hope. When I was in Auschwitz, I had already lost my entire family and survived only with my niece Roma. She begged me to end our suffering by throwing ourselves onto the electrified fence, because she said that the only way out of Auschwitz was through the chimney. I convinced her to wait one more day.
One more day.
And then again to wait another day, because I wasn't ready to die. I wanted to live. I am now 103 years old, and I have lived my life always believing that tomorrow will be better than today, and that I will never give up, no matter what. My name is Ella Blumenthal. Remember this.
How good is that? The reason that you've seen me speak before, or you watch my content, that I seem to be a little bit more intense today, is because I actually really believe you can change people's lives. See, when they tell you making your dreams come true is so amazing, having a jet, owning an island, or whatever, I can tell you that I don't believe it's true. And I don't mean to steal your dream from you, but you should go buy your Lambo, and you should go own that house you want, and do those things. But I'm going to tell you that I think you'll find once you've done it, it's not quite what you thought, although I've been happy rich and happy poor. Happy rich is way better, okay? But having said that, it's not quite what you think. Here's the thing nobody tells you, and that's what's cool about having an old guy up here. There's something that happens when you become the best version of you and make your dreams come true that they don't tell you. And the thing they don't tell you is 1,000 times better than you think it is. And it's the other people's lives you'll change as a result of making your dream come true. It's the things you'll be able to do for people you love or total strangers that you will never do in your life if you don't become that person. It will not cost you something. It'll cost the people you love, your children, your grandchildren, your parents. It'll cost them if you don't become that person. Let me explain this to you. My dad, when I'm 15 years old, he's driving me to a Little League game. He's a raging alcoholic, a very aggressive, rough dude. Watched my dad in more than 50 fights in my life. 50. In fact, 2 weeks before my dad got sober, he headbutted a dude in a donut line in church. After church. That was my dude. I was afraid of my dad. We're driving to my Little League game, and he pulls the car over. My dad's crying while he's driving. I've never seen my father cry before. And he says, Eddie, he looks at me, this is the one more. I'm going to try to get sober one more time. I said, Daddy, what would be any different this time? You've tried lots of times. And he never said this to me before. He said, Eddie, I love you. You deserve a father you can admire and respect. You don't have that. Your mom deserves a husband she can trust, and so do your sisters. I'm going to do it because I love you. I really believe this. If you connect the love you have for other people to the dream you want to achieve, that will be bigger than the adversity you'll face. But if you're not willing to make that emotional connection, the adversity will be bigger and you lose. Now it's interesting, my dad passed away a few years ago. I'd already written my book, and I woke up in the middle of the night crying, about 2:30 in the morning. My wife has never seen this before. And I wake up, and it's like the fog of the night, where you're not making sense. I go, babe, someone help Daddy. She goes, what? What's wrong with you? I said, babe, someone help Daddy. And she said, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. I said, honey, someone helped my dad get sober. And that person changed my entire life. I'm 53 years old, and I never thought about it. My dad didn't do this alone. And by the way, my dad was going to kill himself that night. My father had written a suicide note. We were at the church. The police were looking for my dad. I remember thinking, What's going on? My dad was going to take his life that night, and some precious human being intervened and saved my dad's life. And I don't know if it happened in an alley, a bar, the back of a room. I don't even know where it happened. But this person, whoever they are, probably doesn't know I'm his son. Listen to what I'm telling you, everybody. The ripple effect of helping one person in your life, you don't know. But the expense of it, my father would have been dead. I wouldn't be up here tonight if this precious human didn't intervene and say, I can help you. Living greatly, when I say you were born to do something great with your life, it isn't that video. It's in a quiet moment with what you know, or your product, or your company, or your heart. You help one of other God's children in need, who needs you, needs your insurance, needs your mortgage, needs your whatever it is. They need that real estate. They need you. And when you help them, the ripple effect, that's better than you think it is. I found the dude who helped my dad, by the way. And guess what? When I found this dude, check this out. What do you think qualified him to help my dad? Because here's what I think. I think you think winning, happiness, like in your heart, real joy, peace, is for everybody else. I think you think you're disqualified. I think you think your disqualifications are, maybe a sin, maybe a setback, maybe a mistake you've made. Maybe it's the family you come from. Maybe you think you're disqualified because you've always been average. You've always been invisible. So you're disqualified. You're always going to be. Maybe that's what you think. I don't know. But I can tell you that's the devil lying to you. Now listen to me on this. This is what qualified this man to help my dad. You think he had a PhD in alcohol rehab? What do you think? Think he had a perfect resume? Never made a mistake in his life? Yes or no? What do you think? You ready for your life to change right now? You know what qualified this precious man to help my father? He was also a drunk. He was also a liar. He had also lived in the shadows. He also had shame. You want to know why? Because in life you're most qualified to help the person you used to be. Let me say that again. In life you're most qualified to help the person you used to be. If you used to not have hope in your life, and now you got some hope, you're qualified to help all these people without hope. If you used to not know how to transform yourself and grow into a person, and now you do, that you respect, you can help all these people who need that help. If you used to not know anything about real estate, now you do, you can help all those people that don't. You're most qualified in life to help those you used to be. In fact, the very things that you think are your weaknesses, your sins, your setbacks, your mistakes, your averageness, imagine this, always being shy, always being introverted, always being underestimated, always being average like me. I'm immensely qualified to help everybody who feels the same way, because I've changed that. You're most qualified to help those you used to be. Everybody with me on that? Say amen. Amen. That dude was only sober 31 days himself. He didn't know all the words. He didn't have the phone script down.